So a couple of y'all already got this, but this is basically how I would construct an example deletion letter. So now that we understand the law, we understand the language of the law, we don't want to make it too deep. We just want to send them a simple letter to get this deletion letter removed. Do I always have to send an affidavit of truth? Okay, we're gonna get into affidavit of truth, but you don't necessarily always have to send an affidavit of truth. I'm gonna cover that in a little bit. So you're getting ahead of me. Relax. No, I'm playing. All right, so first of all, you want to put your name, your address, all that, and then you're gonna put the date, and then you're addressing to Experian or the furnisher of the information, whoever you want to address. So what I would put is to whom it may concern. And then I would put, I received a copy of my insert your report, whatever it is. It could be Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, whatever you got a problem with. And I noticed you're going to insert the negative item that needs a deletion. I noticed this that needs to be corrected. They are as follows. Put down the account number, put down the account. Very, very basic information. You're literally letting them know. I noticed something on my report. This needs to be deleted. And we're making a demand. We're not making a request. This is a demand. I want y'all to have that mindset. So then you immediately let them know your company is in violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, otherwise known as 15 U.S.C. 1681. One thing I want y'all to know too, with template letters, I don't want y'all to just copy what it says verbatim. Plug in your own words. Template letters are meant to be a guide in terms of how you should do it. And I used to actually not even sell template letters just because I was, worried that people would just copy it verbatim. And I had these template letters for a while, but it's just that when I was on consultation calls, I would just tell people how I would, construct it. But y'all getting the information as far as looking at it here. And I know some of y'all purchased some already. So I just want y'all to be responsible with how you actually use the template letters. So let them know they violated the FCRA. Then what the best practice that I like to do is literally copy the law and break it down to them. So this is a round 2 letter that we have as an example. You see it's S-2, responsibilities of furnishers of information and consumer reporting agencies. I would say the law clearly states and then publish it, right? Copy and paste it. Does that not look familiar? We just talked about prohibition. Don't make it too deep. So then I'll explain it to them, right? So like I said, this is an example of a round 2 letter. So let's say we sent our first round, we sent a debt validation. We sent, just for the sake of example, we used 1681B number 2 in our example for round 1, saying that our late payment needed to be removed because we didn't give them written instruction. Or we use 2AI because that was an experience or transaction between us and, the person. So this is round 2, like I said. So clearly, prohibition means something that is not allowed. This law says a person, you in this case, shall not furnish any information relating to a consumer to any consumer reporting agency if the person knows or has reasonable cause to believe that information is inaccurate. So you're just letting them know what they're doing. You want to coach them through, the law. Somebody asked, why are there highlights? Okay, I should have said that too. So as far as the highlighting, the reason why I'm highlighting is when you're sending dispute letters to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, there's something called the eOscar system. The eOscar system means that when your dispute or your demand is sent over to them, they have an automated system, an automated system that scans your letter. And our whole goal is to get our dispute to a human being. How can we get our dispute to a human being as best as possible? What we could do, we could throw them off by highlighting random phrases and words and things like that. So that's really the reason why I'm putting the highlights, because I want y'all to bypass the eOscar system, get directly to Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax, or whoever you're dealing with. Because you got to realize it's billions of consumers. They're not going to be reading your dispute all the time. But most people don't understand the fact that there is an eOscar system. So most people are going to get that automatic thing of, oh, this information is verified. Whole time it wasn't even a human being that looked at your letter. So you want to really think about what are tactics, consumer ammunition tactics, that we could use to bypass the eOscar system. So that's why there's a highlight. That was a great question. All right, so then you walk them through it. Accuracy is defined as a measure of value. We talked about that. Having this information on my credit report is not of value to me, so therefore it is inaccurate, and I demand it to be deleted from all consumer reporting agencies. So let them know. Let's look at reasonable cause to believe that the information is inaccurate, right? Did we not just go over this in the presentation? So you can literally replay the presentation if you purchase a replay and just kind of, you know, take my position. The way I'm breaking it down to y'all, break it down to them. So look, I clearly showed you in my previous letter. Remember, this is round 2 example. In my previous letter that you received via certified mail. This is why we sign certified mail, because they can't lie. Oh, I didn't receive it. They have to sign that they received it. That you have reasonable cause to believe that the information is inaccurate by me clearly defining accurate and what it means to be inaccurate and pointing out the laws that you violated. Therefore, the information being inaccurate, right? So this is just an example. And then while we're at it, right? While we're at it, pursuant to 15 U.S.C. 1681A4, like I told y'all can go as simple as just going to the Congressional Findings. This is where it states Congress makes the findings. There's a need to ensure that consumer reporting agencies exercise their great responsibilities with fairness, right? But the most important part is the respect for the consumer's right to privacy. So once you say that, remember, a lot of these people, they don't know what the law is. They dumb, so you got to break it down to them. So clearly my right to privacy as a consumer has been violated by publicly reporting this information when I never gave your organization permission to report my information. Right, that's a mouthful. Keep that in mind. All right, so, you know, remember, this is a round 2 letter. So now what you can say is, you don't got to say, remember, this is a guide. This is getting out of hand. So if you continue failing to follow the law after I've clearly showed you that you have reasonable cause to believe that the information isn't, in fact, inaccurate, this matter will result in legal actions being taken against your company, and I will be seeking $1,000 per violation of the following. So that would be 15 U.S.C. 1681N, civil liability for willful noncompliance, 15 U.S.C. 1681O, civil liability for negligent noncompliance. So they're willfully non-complying and they're being negligent in their noncompliance as far as them not removing the late payment that I am demanding that they remove, because I've showed them and proved to them that they have reasonable cause to believe that the information is inaccurate. Therefore, it must be deleted from all consumer reporting agencies. That is what is going on in this whole scenario. And furthermore, you could even copy and paste 1681N. I didn't do that in this example, but it's something that y'all could do just to show them. Remember, I said earlier, you know, any actual damages, damages could be your mental health, damages could be you getting denied, damages could be anything. And you just point out the fact that they're in violation of $1,000 per violation. Remember, I said in a separate class, we're gonna walk through the $1,000 per violation. I saw somebody ask, how do we get the money from them? We're going to walk through that in a different class, but I want y'all to really, really focus on getting these deletions first. Let's focus on the deletions and then we'll get the money after. All right, so then what I would do to end the letter, it doesn't matter how much time you give them. You can give them 30 days or whatever, but I just put an example. You could put, you have 14 days to respond upon receipt of this letter to delete the reference items and send me a new letter, notify me that the information has been deleted from all consumer reporting agencies, and also mail me a copy of my report, right? So you as a consumer, remember, you're giving them instructions. So when it comes to like debt, when it comes to Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, we're not talking about that today, but just for the sake of my example, you could literally send them a cease and desist and tell them, when it comes to like a collection or something, you could tell them to stop contacting you because you're trapping them in a situation. You tell them to stop contacting you. If they continue contacting you, that is a violation because you have a right to privacy. I've shown you like 18 times you have a right to privacy. So keep that in mind. And then you'll end it with best regards and your name. And a best practice is you want to always have a copy of your ID and a utility bill showing your proof of your address, your current address, right? So you want to also mail that with your demand, because a lot of times these consumer reporting agencies do things that are called stalling tactics. So if you don't send your form of ID, they might be like, oh, it's not you. We're still looking into your case. We need proof of, you know, whatever. So because they're going to do that a lot of times, just send them your identification right away. Want to give them no excuses, right, to move forward with the process, because you got to understand that credit takes time. So if we can minimize the amount of work we got to do, the better we'll be within our situation. So that's an example of how I would walk through a demand. This is how, you know, my clients have gotten negative items deleted. And this is how you're going to get your negative items deleted. And one thing I'll say that's worth mentioning too, because I was on a consultation call too with this girl, and she was basically saying how she was tired of, sending letters after letter. Why is it not working? She got a couple of bureaus off, but I said bureaus. When we talk about the language, you know what I mean, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. So she got a couple of the consumer reporting agencies off, but it was one of them that wouldn't budge. I want y'all to have that mindset. You got to be consistent. Not only do you have to be consistent, you got to be persistent. I had a client, she went like 7 rounds just to get an item deleted. So imagine if she was like, oh, I'm doing 5 rounds, it doesn't work. Or I did 6 rounds and it didn't work. All she needed to do was 1 more round. So when it comes to sending these letters, whether you're sending like an FTC report, one hack I'll say is you want to send the same thing you're sending and then send a new one. So let's say you send an FTC report, 14 days later, I would send a new one, but maybe 10 days later, I'd send the same one just as a reminder, just constantly be in the flow of it. I covered it on the podcast. I don't remember what episode it was, but just binge listen to the podcast and you'll hear what I meant by that as far as the FTC example. Any questions based off of the template letter? Let me know. Any questions based off of the template letter before we move on to the affidavit of truth? Any questions? Let me know. I need a water break. How y'all feeling? I know most of y'all that's in here got the template letters. I know a couple people that weren't able to make it tonight also got the template letters. But let me know if y'all have any questions as far as these laws. Thank you for the information, King. This is helpful. No problem. Thank you for pulling up. Thank you for investing in yourself. Thank y'all for investing in yourselves. Okay, we're going to move forward to the affidavit of truth.